All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone who's tuned into our webinar. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to join our webinar about effective lean management. I'm your moderator, Nick Azad, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with not only my colleague, Corey Vodvarka, who is our manufacturing expert and resident Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, but also two gentlemen, Kyle Matson and Andy Osk, who are members of Premier System Integrators, which is a Parsec certified gold level partner. Kyle and Andy, would you care to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. This is Kyle Matson, and I'm excited to share some of my lean and manufacturing systems experiences with you.
And this is Andy Osk. Thanks for your time. Hopefully these stories and demonstration will be helpful to you.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure to have you two gentlemen join us today. To quickly bring everyone up to speed on who Parsec is, we've been in business for over 30 years with a dedicated focus exclusively on developing manufacturing operations management software, which you'll hear us abbreviate MOM. Our Traxxas solution platform is designed to measurably help our customers without the need for disruption and major infrastructure overhaul. Traxxas has been deployed in thousands of locations in over 100 different countries. We've helped customers in a variety of industries, food and beverage, pharmaceuticals, CPG, and aerospace, to name a few, to significantly improve their manufacturing operations. Now, based out of Nashville, Premier System Integrators has been around just as long. With offices in Alabama and Ohio, they've helped to complete over 11,000 projects. Their most recent Traxxas implementations were for Jack Daniels and L'Oreal. So as before, we reached out to a handful of our customers in advance of this webinar to get a gauge on common issues around lean management, as well as topics of interest. To address the information, we're going to begin by discussing the challenges we heard, follow that up with a Premier-led demonstration of how Traxxas helps solve those issues, and then end with an open Q&A session. So gentlemen, the first topic that I want to bring up concerns leadership roles. And Kyle, I want to direct this question to you. In your leadership roles, did you experience difficulty getting consistent use of lean tools?
Thanks, Nick. That's a great question. And absolutely, yeah, we saw various scenarios play out, especially our supervisors. They tended to feel overburdened as you started to get more of those lean tools out there. And really being able to use them consistently. The other piece to that was you're adding in these other tools, that, the short interval control boards, the zone control boards, problem solving. And that's all in addition to their existing responsibilities. Operator support and training, meeting their production goals, other meetings, etc. So, definitely saw some difficulties in getting that. And then as a manager, it was also a bit of a challenge for me to be able to audit the use of their lean tools and really making sure that they're continuously using them and using them accurately.
Mm-hmm. So how did you then handle the increase in work that's associated with administrative tasks that are required by lean?
Yeah, so we took a couple different approaches. So initially, we added some lean administrators to really handle those report creations and those audits. And that worked for a little bit, but again, that's added cost. And as we know in manufacturing, you never want to be adding costs. Secondly, once we did that, we then were able to task some of our lead operators with some of that lean administrative work, specifically in taking on more work, and as well as training in Excel and making them a little bit more efficient. And lastly, once we were adding more hours for them, more costs, we ended up increasing hours for our supervisors, which, similar to the previous question, you're adding on top of their existing work. So not always the best scenario, but those were a couple of different ways that we handled that increase in work.
Well, it's interesting. This concept of having to add hours and responsibilities actually equates to a leaner operation. Andy, I want to turn this next one to you. Exactly how many dedicated resources were required to sustain your lean processes?
Well, it depended on the facility. Every one is a little bit different in size and their journey in lean. The most recent organization that I had responsibility for had a dedicated lean manager, a full-time lean administrator, and a lean trainer. These were in addition to any partial time spent by supervisors, line leaders, engineers, or managers.
So with any new initiative, right, there's always the risk of it becoming just the trend of the month. How did you make sure adoption sticks?
Well, lasting change or adoption is really about cultural change. And lean culture change means moving away from anecdotal assumptions and finger pointing, firefighting, to more data-driven visual management and problem solving. Digital transformation makes the data collection and the visual management much easier to establish and maintain, which makes jobs easier from the operators, the supervisors, the managers, and to the plant manager. And in addition, the digital transformation helps to build the automated layers of accountability into your process and the discipline of standardization required by a lean organization. So by making jobs easier, you can actually create a path of least resistance toward a lean culture change that ends up leveraging everybody's skills and knowledge, creativity, in pursuing their common goals.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Everyone wants to feel that they are, due to their unique skill sets, a value add to their team. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. It was so great to hear from both of you on these subjects that we know are top of mind for many manufacturers. I'm now going to turn things over to Corey Vodvarka, who is going to introduce our Traxxas platform in advance of the demonstration. Corey?
Thank you, Nick. I just want to remind everybody on the line, following the demonstration, we'll be answering additional questions from the audience. So at any time, feel free to type questions you have in the webinar control portal, and we'll get to answering those following the demonstration. But before we jump in the demo, I want to take a moment to provide some background on TrakSYS architecture. TrakSYS allows you to put a brain at the heart of your factory. The platform can connect to a variety of existing business systems like ERP, WMS, LIMS systems and quality, and CMMS systems for managing maintenance, just to name a few. This allows you to leverage data and execute processes between these types of disconnected systems in a really more efficient manner. A lot of times working with these systems, it requires putting things on paper and, disconnected communications that can really be handled much more efficiently if these systems are connected. At the same time, TrakSYS connects to the shop floor automation to execute workflows, gather real-time data, and provide valuable insights to its users. Users can access the system through a web-based browser to interact with processes and utilize the information gathered. Because TrakSYS uses a web-based interface, it can provide users real-time visibility, knowledge, and control anytime and anywhere, whether they're on the plant floor, in the office, or even working remotely. So I'm now going to hand things over to Kyle Madsen, who will walk us through a demonstration on how TrakSYS can be used for lean operations management.
Great, thank you, Corey. So before we get into the demonstration, we want to just give you a simple example of a paper-based leader standard work. Now, this is very typical of what a supervisor or a line leader may use during their daily or weekly checks. Variety of things here. We're going to touch on each of these and show you how we can transform this into a digital version that really increases that accountability and just more fluidity with the systems. All right. So first I want to touch on here, this is just a out-of-the-box content page from Parsec. This is meant to be your operator cockpit. Now, you got a lot going on here, but what I want to focus on or just kind of brief you on before we get into the actual lean aspects here is you see a lot of different colors, and a great thing that TrakSYS does is it standardizes those colors. So you have very similar talk. Everyone knows the same language throughout the organization, and it's very clear very quickly. The other piece is you'll see legends with that. If it isn't clear, it becomes very clear with those legends. So we're going to jump right in here to the leader dashboard. And with this leader dashboard, this is meant to be for your supervisors or your line leaders. And you can see here right off the bat, we have this current job that's being ran. You know, in this case, we're a vitamin company, so you see we got 11,528 cases. You see your shift OEE, what you're actually at and what your target is. You see your current job OEE. So really, really powerful tools here for that supervisor to understand what his current status is with his group on this line 1. You also see that OEE broken down into both availability, performance, and quality aspects. And then lastly, you're able to track that progress of that particular job in terms of quantity. So what we want to go into here is we want to talk specifically to that leader standard work example that I just showed. And you can see here on the right, we have these auto-generated tasks that allow both the supervisor or your line leader to not really have to try to remember what they need to do that day. It's auto-generated, it's right there as a cue for them, but also allows a manager or a plant manager to understand, are we getting the tasks done that need to happen on a daily and a weekly basis? So we're going to jump right in. So if I was a supervisor and I came in the morning, I'd want to complete my associate check-in. So is everyone present? Is everyone working safely? In this case, you're going to have to walk out to that shop floor, talk with your associates, understand what the operators are doing, make sure everyone's working safely, and they need to know what they're doing. Once they're done with that, they can click that they're done, click save. Great, they've done their associate check-in for that morning. Next, I'm going to touch on our gemba walk. So with our gemba walk here, we have multiple different pieces or facets here that we're going to touch on to really display what Traxxas can do. Now, some of these things are going to be right here off of Traxxas, very quick and easy for a supervisor to do, very powerful. But you also want to make sure that your supervisors and your line leaders are going out to the shop floor. So a couple of these are based upon actually going to the floor and looking and seeing what's going on. So first, we're going to start off with, are Kanban levels correct? So in Traxxas, we are able to track all of your materials within a shop, understand where they're at, and understand those levels. So in this particular example for our line 1, you can see here are the next 5 jobs up to be ran. With each one of these, if you click on it, you can see below here are the materials. So these are the materials that need to be ran, and you can see the quantity available, the quantity required to ensure we haven't kicked this job off. But we could, right from this page, kick off the quantities, measure them out, and start that job. So if we go back to our gemba walk here, the next one we're going to look at is our HACCP checks. So right here on our leader dashboard, we have these four items here across the bottom. Again, meant to be very clear and very colorful signals for the supervisors. So you can see overdue HACCP check tasks. Now, right now we're showing that we have 4 that are due for the current shift. So if we click on that, you can see the 4 checks that have not been completed yet, and the ability to automatically know that, hey, they're red, they're past due. You can see 1 was completed. And just, again, a quick check for that supervisor to make sure the correct things are getting done when they need to be done. So moving on to the PMs, similar thing here. You can see overdue PMs for our current shift. We got 13 due. Quick link, you can go right into your preventative maintenance page, and you can see here my top 5 upcoming or past due PMs. You can see the actual run hours here to the right and understand for each of your pieces of machines what the current status is. So again, a very powerful tool for that supervisor to sit down and say what machines are running, what machines aren't, and to be able to react based upon data, not just react to a comment, heard down the hallway, or that constant checking that could utilize valuable time spent elsewhere. So back to the gemba walk, our OEE corrective actions entered. So Andy's going to talk into this in a moment, so I'm not going to hit upon this just yet. We're going to move to the next one, our quality quarantine items assigned. So as I mentioned earlier, where some of these items are going to be based upon Traxxas versus some are going to be based upon going out to the shop floor. This is one of those items where you want your supervisors or line leaders really engaged, going out to the shop floor and understanding from visual indications out on the floor, do we have any items in quality quarantine and are they assigned to the appropriate people? So that would require that particular supervisor or line leader to walk out to the floor, walk out to their area, that is the quality quarantine, and check those items. The next piece we're going to touch on is the 5S checklist. So if we go back to our leader dashboard, again right here at the bottom, you have overdue 5S tasks. So right now we're all caught up on our 5S, but if we click on that, you can get a quick sneak peek here of what our last 10 scores were for 5S. So allowing our supervisor to understand how are we doing with our 5S, what areas need improvement, what don't. And if need be, you can enter another audit right there on the spot, as well as the breakdown of each of those to understand how you're scoring. So once we've completed that 5S, we can go back to, is our WIP level sufficient for daily production? So we can actually see all of our WIP within Traxxas at any location. Right now we're on packaging line 1, which is the line we're focused on. You can see all of the current packaging, or all of the items at that packaging line 1, how the quantity, what the lot number is for traceability, what the last action that was done on each of those items. And this is really powerful. You know, this is going to allow your supervisor to know what all of the items are in the area, as well as to be able to go out and know what's going on with each of those items. So going back to our gemba walk, our next item here is our events acknowledged. So on our leader dashboard here, you can see events to acknowledge. We have 14 events. Been a little busy morning here. And if you click that, you can go in here and now you see all of these events that have occurred throughout the shift. You can see the subsystem, so labeler, capper, wrapper. In this case, there was none. You can see what is that first level, your event definition. So in this case, on the labeler, we ran out of labels. No labels were available. The next level down, event categories, material shortage. So this is that start to that 5 whys and really being that enabler to your supervisors, line leaders, as well as the operators out on the floor to really start down that problem-solving path and really driving 5 whys to get to root cause. Rather than waiting hours, days, weeks later to understand what happened, what caused that line to go down, you're starting to capture that information right off the bat. And so just to give you a quick demonstration of that piece, we can go in here and we can acknowledge, okay, we did not have labels, we didn't have material shortage. We can write a note right in here. We knew that supplier was late delivering. We could even write who that supplier is, XYZ company. And now we have that data saved for later. So very powerful tool here for the supervisor to utilize. So we're going to go back to our gemba walk here. And the last piece has management signed off on the short interval control boards. Now Andy's going to get into the short interval control boards in a moment here, but another opportunity here for your supervisor or line leader to go out and check that or check it right on Traxxas. So I hope you enjoyed the gemba walk and the associate check-in. I'm going to hand it over to Andy here to continue with the demonstration.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm going to go back to the leader dashboard here, and Kyle mentioned it, but just to reiterate a little bit, much of what you see is out of the box, but one of the nice aspects of Traxxas is it comes with a really nice developer platform that enables you to create these pages, really customize them to meet the standards that you want to develop, whether it be layout or colors or what information you want to present here. As we look at short interval control, we've got a window into that from our leader dashboard. You'll see the hour by hour progress shown in the bars in the middle. These are color coded again based on rules that you can configure within Traxxas. Red hours being those that need more explanation than a green hour, being above your target. And then the red hour entries, comments here made by supervisors or operators telling the story of what's going on throughout that shift. If we look at the interface for that, this is the daily report here, short interval control board, also called production control boards oftentimes. These are oftentimes created using whiteboards or flip charts, neither which have the ability to historize and recall later. If you want to do that, you've got to have someone else keying that information in at a later time. These also are standard in terms of the colors, prompting for information to be entered when a given hour is below a threshold that you've set. In this example, we've got 2 red hours showing, and if we were to click on why is that a red hour, we can pick from a list of categories. So, this gives you the ability to then Pareto that list and do some problem solving with that. In this example, I'll select label jam, and what I did to correct that. And save that information. And now that information is here, but it's also on the leader dashboard. If I go back to the leader dashboard, I see that I just let the supervisor know and leaders know that I had to make this adjustment. The next thing I want to show is the schedule review. We look at the, this is coming off of the leader standard work. One of the things it would do typically would be to review a schedule for the shift or the next shift or the coming week. And this is just an example of what they might look at within Traxxas. Again, all one system with this window into what's coming. You'll see the legend off to the right, ability to look down and see what's waiting in queue, what's in progress, what's been completed on time, with any window of configurability that you'd want to apply to this within a given line or all the lines within the packaging department, however you would like to see that. The next one that we have in the Gemba walk is preparing for your zone control meeting. This is a lengthy process, oftentimes, as it requires a great deal of data collection, usually multiple Excel spreadsheets, cranking out reports. With Traxxas, all the data being collected live, these reports can be generated very quickly. This is an example of a Pareto that is showing our reasons for downtime, both in duration and count. So you get a sense of where you can have the greatest impact, both from kind of that nuisance problem perspective in the count, as well as the duration, where you can really generate the most savings and productivity improvement by improving that. This is just one example of a component that could be put into a zone control board. I'll just refresh this to give you a sense of the performance. Very quick database recovery. You can also pivot that by other categories and then save that as a custom screen. Build your own zone control dashboard. So saving a great deal of time. So that's the end of our demonstration here, and I'll be turning this back over to Corey. We thank you for your time today. As I turn things over, just to recap a few things that Kyle and I talked about. Leveraging a digital transformation really enhances and simplifies your lean journey. It ensures that you get consistent and accurate data that can be used for and-on and root cause problem solving. It can increase the use of visual management for and-on and event-based tasks. Can increase your leadership's efficiency and effectiveness. Creates really a platform for standardization for all of the disciplines within your business, and then helps enhance your accountability through every layer of the organization. And lastly, it reduces waste associated with lean processes and maintenance.
Well, thank you, Kyle and Andy. It was great to see how you were able to leverage Traxxas standard content and features to build a lean solution that meets your customers' needs. Today, we got to see a piece of what can be done with Traxxas. Traxxas is a unified manufacturing operations management platform that has standard content to quickly deploy solutions, as well as features and functions that allow you to configure solutions specific to your unique operation. We're now at the point where we're going to open up conversations and address any questions you may have. So please feel free to write in We'll do our best to answer as many questions we can in the time remaining. Any questions we don't get to will be posted to our website and distributed. The recording of this presentation will also be available shortly after the conclusion. So we have a few questions. The first one comes up, will you be providing slides following the presentation? I mentioned that, yes, we will be, not so much the slides, but we'll be providing a recording of this presentation, and that will be sent out to all attendees and everyone that signed up and registered. The next question I have is, and I'm gonna pose this to the folks at Premier. We're just getting started with Lean. What would you say are 3 things that will really make a difference for us?
Well, this is Andy. I'll take that one. There's a lot of ways to answer that. I think from a perspective of a business process and systems, first thing I'd say is it's important to think through how you're going to implement Lean tools and processes and really sustain those. The second is looking at preventing waste in your administrative elements of your Lean management. You don't want to, save money, spend money only to save it and have it be a wash. And then lastly, ensure that you're getting accurate data. That data is critical for driving you to the primary issues and opportunities in your facility. And so it's critical that you have a good process for ensuring you have accurate data.
Great, thank you. The next one, I'm gonna take this one. It says, our factory has a lot of older equipment without automation and PLCs. What are my options for getting started with TrakSYS? That's a great question. There's a lot of legacy facilities out there that don't necessarily have automation, so there's definitely solutions. One of the options is to start with manual data gathering, interacting with the system, triggering events, as well as utilizing TrakSYS for workflows and things of that sort, journaling. These can all be done without automation. You can also begin retrofitting older equipment with low-cost IoT devices. Parsec utilizes a system we've developed called the smart devices, and these can begin automating data collection and it's starting down the path of adding digitization for automating that data collection. The next question is, our manufacturing operation is very departmentalized. How do we create a culture of collaboration, and what tools do you recommend? I'm going to throw that to the folks at Premier.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. This is Kyle. I'll take that one. So it's really important that each department really follows same standards, and so one of the things we recommend is really creating a standard for both visual controls and problem solving. A, it kind of helps that everyone's speaking the same language, and B, anyone going from one department to the next already have that leg up of understanding and really being able to tell that abnormal from normal. The other piece would be leveraging a weekly management gemba. These walks are typically, the plant manager and other department managers, and it's really to review that standardized zone control. But in that review, it really enables that thought sharing and the idea sharing, and in sharing that information, you're getting those successes, and you're allowing that buy-in and support across the different departments. So those are two different things that we would recommend that really can help create that culture of collaboration.
Very good, thank you. The next question is, we use SAP. Could TrakSYS be integrated with my ERP master data and scheduling systems? I'm going to answer that one. TrakSYS uses a data management service, which it's a standard connector and interoperability tool that's extensive and well-defined API. DMS can be configured for connecting not only SAP, but really a large variety of other business applications, and it enables bi-directional communication. So not only can Traxxas receive data from those business systems, it can also provide data to, which avoids having to do repetitive entries in multiple systems. So very powerful tool, the data management service in Traxxas.
All right. Well, thank you for all of those questions, and gentlemen, thank you for your answers. We're going to wrap things up. So to everyone that wrote in, thanks again. The answers to all the questions we received, not just the ones we covered, will be emailed out. For anything else, please feel free to contact us at the email address that will be on screen momentarily. And you can also always find out more information about our platform Traxxas on our website, www.parsec-corp.com/Traxxas. Till next time, thanks again.